Let's go. Surrendering to the reality that the world may never love us. Most people won't care about us. That's the truth. The world keeps moving whether we win or lose, indifferent to our struggles and our victories alike. Accepting this truth isn't giving up, it's liberation. It's how we stop wasting precious energy trying to earn love that may never come. The surrender is not defeat, it's the beginning of true self reliance and inner peace. So, we got two realities to hold. Learning to navigate life, let me repeat that. Learning to navigate life requires holding two seemingly contradictory truths at once. The tension between them is where wisdom lives. So, number one, we have the outside reality. The world doesn't owe us love or fairness. It operates by its own rules, often indifferent to our needs and desires. This is simply how things are. Next, we have inside reality. We can still believe we deserve love and live like it. Our internal worth isn't determined by external validation. We define our own value. So the goal is to accept both truths. Don't mix them up. The world's coldness doesn't define our worth. We do that ourselves through how we show up every day. I don't know if you go on social media, you might notice that things are very black and white, very binary, yes or no. And part of the reason why I even made this PowerPoint in the first place is because of the life situation I'm currently in. You know, deep inside, I still feel hopeful, powerful, and filled with love. But as of right now, the external world is spitting in my face and shitting on me, and it hurts and it stings. But what can I really do? I can cope, which I don't want to do, or I could just face it and still try anyway and still fight, right? Next, what does surrender even really mean? What surrender is not: giving up on ourselves, accepting mistreatment, becoming passive or defeated, waiting for rescue. That is not what surrender is. What surrender is: releasing expectations of the world, starting with what we have now, taking radical responsibility, building our own foundation. Surrender means we stop begging life to change before we move forward. We stop waiting for perfect conditions or external permission. We start using what we have as we are right now. This is where real power begins. And these are just words, and to be honest, this is a lot harder. This is a lot harder, especially if you're depressed. There's like no energy. It feels like you're rotting inside. And what can we do though? It's like, if we really wanted to die, we would probably die. You know what I mean? We would off ourselves. Something keeps us alive. The people who really bout it like that, they do that. So we gotta just start with action. We gotta just say fuck it though. It's either I rot inside, or I'm like burned alive by external reality, or I'm crucified by the external world. Either way, you're gonna hurt. Either way, you're gonna feel like shit. So fuck it. You know what I mean? Either way, at least you can at least try in one versus not trying. So where love can actually come from. Not all sources of love are equally reliable. Understanding this helps us invest our energy wisely and build sustainable emotional stability. So, strangers and society, can we rely on that? Rarely. You could rely on like attention and maybe some pleasure and stuff that strokes your ego, but like love and warmth, fuck no, bro. First of all, what the hell would you even want warmth and love by the village, bro? Fuck that shit. Can we control it? No. Do we build there? No. Relationships, sometimes. Can we control it? Not really. You could do everything right and you will still get hurt. That's just how it is. You could do everything right, but guess what? With dating apps, social media, we're all replaceable. We're all replaceable. I know a lot of guys. I mean, this, there's a lot of nuance. Not everyone is really the same, but in my experience, when it comes to like dating and stuff like that, remember, this is my perspective. A lot of guys, or you know what? I'm not even gonna talk about guys. I'm gonna talk about myself. I could tolerate a lot of like BS, uncomfortable stuff in relationships, And I'm like, whatever, I don't address it because I don't think it's a big deal. It's just discomfort, it's just pain, you know what I mean? But then every relationship kind of, like, in my experience, has kind of failed because what I would tolerate in them, right, they wouldn't do the same for me, and then they would dip. Because I'm not a perfect human, you know what I mean? I'm not the perfect human. And it is what it is. Or sometimes I would do everything right and they still leave. Now, am I doing everything right objectively? Probably not, because I'm not a perfect person, but I would do everything I can, right? Everything I'm able to do. Why? Because that's how we live without regrets. If you don't give 100%, you're always left with, oh, I could have done more. Or, you know what I mean? It's not, things don't end at the root, at the source. But if you give it 100%, you're like, it's a clean cut. It's a clean cut because you tried. You did everything you could do. So, anyways. Next source, ourselves. Always trainable. Can we control it? Yes. Do we build there? Yes. Key instruction. We build our base where we actually have control inside our own actions and habits. This isn't selfish, it's strategic. A strong foundation makes us better partner, friends, and community members. I'm actually going to cut this off right here and start the next part.